don't like reading from a script because I hate reading aloud. So never liked that at school, still don't like it now. So I think what I found over the period of time is that I've been really lucky because when I was younger and at school, we didn't have computers. Yeah. And I think now my life changed when I got a computer.
Hello, and I am Shakir, here to interview you. Please may you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Susan Ball. It's good to meet you. I'm a tax partner here at RSM. RSM's a firm of accountants. We do tax advice and consulting work. It's quite large, actually. It's got over 4,900 staff, 31 locations in the UK, and we're part of an international network as well, which means that we're even bigger. We cover 120 countries.
About your career journey.
Oh, gosh. Well, obviously I went to school.
Yeah.
And then I actually left school after my A-levels.
Yeah.
Now, originally, I had actually intended to carry on in education, but I really wanted a year out because I found studying quite hard, and I thought I'd spent 4 years studying and it would be nice to have a year off and do something more exciting, like travelling or something.
Yeah.
But my family said to me that if I wanted to do that, I needed to save some money to do it. So I went out looking for a job. And I ended up actually doing a personal assistance job to a gentleman who was in charge of customs and excise in the East region. And he persuaded me, along with my father, who also was a civil servant, that there was an exam you could do to join the civil service on a training programme. It was like an apprenticeship. And so I decided, well, I might as well try the exam. And then, I could always change my mind anyway later. But of course I didn't. I passed the exam and they offered me a job. They actually offered me a job in what's now called HMRC, that's the tax office.
Yeah.
And even though I really did want to go travelling, by that time I'd been earning some money, they'd offered me a good job and there was 2 years training with it. And I thought, oh, this would be really good because I'll end up in the same position potentially when I finish the training as I would have done if I'd have gone on to do further education. But all that time I'm earning money and I could go off and do things I want to do with the money I earn. So that's kind of how I started my career in tax, and then I progressed through. I decided after a period of time that I didn't like working for HMRC and that I would quite like to go and work for a firm of accountants, and I joined an accountancy firm. And I kind of progressed through to being a partner in an accountancy firm.
Okay. Who have been your biggest influence in life and how have they helped you to improve?
Well, by far the biggest influence in my life has got to be my parents. So both of my parents worked when I was younger. My mum was a nurse and my dad, as I said, was a civil servant. So, seeing them work, realising that hard work could, help you pay for things you might want, I thought was quite important. And so they were my biggest influence, really, when I was younger. I saw them and how they had careers and thought I wanted some of that.
Okay. I understand that you have dyslexia. Please, can you give me some advice what helped you on it?
So, yes, I am dyslexic, unfortunately, although actually I think it's quite great now. It's really good that the narrative has changed and that people recognise that as the special skills that you've got, which are actually different perhaps from other people. So for me, I suppose the things that have helped me over that period of time, dyslexia for different people, they can have different strengths and weaknesses. There's different variations of it. Some people have it really badly, some people don't have it so badly. So mine's not so bad, but I'm really bad at spelling. I really don't like writing things down. So my writing is appalling. Probably I did that to sort of hide the fact that perhaps I couldn't spell a word when I was younger. I don't like reading from a script because I hate reading aloud. So never liked that at school, still don't like it now. So I think what I found over the period of time is that I've been really lucky because when I was younger and at school, we didn't have computers. Yeah. And I think now my life changed when I got a computer because it can help me with the spelling. I learned some words, so I would mostly communicate in plain English, as I would call it, because I know how to spell those words. Yeah. And I don't have to think too hard. But I use some of the tools now that we have on computers, to help with grammar, help with spelling. If I, I even find typing sometimes, I can type things, but if I can't spell it, that's difficult, isn't it? But we've got the facility now where you can actually talk to your computer and it types it for you. So then they can spell the word for me. So I find that I use all of those things to try and help me. And I also try and allocate more time to do things. So I think I always needed that when I was at school. I spent a lot of extra time having extra lessons to try and keep up, because it's quite tough sometimes when you're, struggling with things. But now I still do the same thing. What I might do is, if I write something, I might leave it for a little while and then go back to it later and then reread it, because then I might spot where I've made a mistake. And sometimes, in order to make sure that I've got it right, I might also read it out loud, because if you read it out loud, then sometimes you can spot the mistake as well.
Yeah. When you said about the computer, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, okay. So in certain documents, like for me on Word, which I use for work, there's a dictate button, and I can press the dictate button and I can speak, and then it types it for me.
Yeah, but I heard of that, but sometimes it types it wrong.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. But I found that sometimes easier than maybe sometimes when I'm typing it myself. So I use that. And particularly if I get stuck on a word, because I could type it myself, and then if I get stuck because I don't know how to start a word, because there's some words that are just spelt weirdly, aren't they? I mean, and so if you don't even know where to start, then you can press the dictate button, say the word, and it might get the right word.
Yeah.
So then you don't have to work out, because otherwise sometimes I can spend a fair amount of time sitting there trying to work out how you even start with a word I might want to use. And I hate the words that are like PH when you think it's an F, for example, because if you started with an F, you're never going to get the right spelling.
Yeah. What has been your biggest challenge in life, and how did you overcome it?
Well, that's quite tricky, because obviously being dyslexic, that's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And certainly when I was at school, it wasn't well recognised. My parents had to get me assessed outside of school because the school didn't recognise it at all. And then even when I went back to school, having been told I was dyslexic, the school didn't recognise it. So that's been a challenge all of my life, and we just talked about some of the things I still do.
Yeah.
Outside of that, unfortunately, several years ago I got divorced. That wasn't very good either. So that's a big challenge from a personal perspective.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, gosh. Depends how old I was at my younger self. But I suppose I probably would not have been so upset about being dyslexic, because actually it is now really great when you think about it. It means you're really good at other things that some other people aren't good at. So just because so we both have the thing that we can't spell very well, I find that actually I can take in a lot of information and see patterns in things which people can't see. And also when people give me a lot of information, I can clearly work my way through it quite quickly. So that really helps me in my job. And that's a really good point to it. But when I was younger, all I could see was the bad points, and that upset me.
How did you develop yourself personally to become a partner?
Hard work, basically. A lot of taking all the training people offered me. So I was really, really lucky. As I said, when I started in my career, I was given quite a lot of training. So I would really work hard, a bit like when you're at school. So I did a lot of stuff extra to make sure that I took on board everything people were saying. Yeah. Quite often when you do any sort of role like this, you'll get training on the technical aspects of your job, but you'll also get training on, how to manage people and everything else. And so I tried to learn all those things and practice what they told me. And then as you progress, you learn more. You don't ever really stop learning. And so as long as you can do that and still learn as you go along, then it's sort of, everything's bite-sized chunks, because you're moving forward slowly, You're learning the next thing, and then you get that and you've mastered it, and then you learn the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go from, here to there really, really quickly.
What has been your strength, like your superpower?
Well, I think that is being dyslexic, actually, as I said, and being able to take on board quite a lot of information and see the wood for the trees. It's kind of an expression that we have. Just thinking, what we also say is perhaps thinking out of the box. So I was listening to a talk the other day by the gentleman who found the Titanic. I don't know if you've heard of the Titanic. Yes. Well, he's...
Values in life.
Well, I think sometimes that's a difficult question, but loyalty, I think it's really important. I think, you know, kindness is really important. Respect for others, because we all, I mean, it's a bit like we were talking about earlier. When you're dyslexic, you're good at some things, other people are good at other things. And if you respect each other and what you're good at, then you can have a much better relationship. So I think those are things that are important. Teamwork, actually, weirdly. But again, for the same reasons, is I always want to work in a team, because I then try and find people who can do things really well that I'm not so good at, so that then that balances it out. So those form part of my values. Said that loads and loads of people had tried to find the Titanic. He was dyslexic. And they'd all tried a particular way to do it. And they were told they only had a short period of time left before they ran out of time to go and look for it in a particular area they were looking at. And he just started to think really differently about where would the Titanic have ended up if it hit an iceberg here? Where might it have actually gone in the water? Because it clearly wasn't where they were looking. And he used all of that information that he was given, and he went, I reckon we should try not looking there, we should be looking over here. And guess what? They found it.
What was your first job?
Well, when I was younger, I really wanted to earn some money, like more than pocket money. I used to do some errands for my parents and get pocket money. I don't know if you do that.
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh, well, maybe you need to negotiate with your parents. But I wanted a bit more money than just getting pocket money, because I decided that then I could buy what I wanted as opposed to what my parents wanted me to have or would let me have. And so I started off with a paper round, which was delivering newspapers. But I was quite young. And so my mum was really worried about us, particularly in the winter, because it was really dark when we had to do it. We only delivered them once a week. And she would park the car at the top of the road where we delivered the papers. And me and my sister would go up and down the road and deliver the papers. And then she'd drive us to the next road, and then we'd do the same thing. Because she thought it was quite important for us to learn about money as young as possible. So that was kind of my first job. Although just about the same time, I used to sing in a choir. And I used to get paid to sing at weddings. So it's amazing what you can earn money at when you're younger.
I didn't know you could sing at weddings.
Well, people used to like having a choir at weddings. I mean, we didn't get paid very much, but it's nice to have your own money sometimes, so that you can then buy what you want.
And did you like your job? Your first job?
My first job? Not so much, no. Primarily because the weather's not always great. So imagine delivering papers when it's wet and cold and snowy, and that's not the best. And unfortunately, they don't like it if you just say, oh, I don't like the weather and I don't want to turn up today. So.
Motivates you?
That's sometimes a difficult question. When I was younger, I really, really, really wanted my own house. And I bought my own house at 21. I don't really know why. I think it was because perhaps when I was a child, we moved around quite a lot and it seemed like a really important thing. So I guess to start with, I was kind of motivated by money. But as you move on through life, then you realise that actually money isn't the be-all and end-all. So it motivates me that I enjoy doing what I'm doing, that I work with people I like working with, and stuff like that, rather than just money. But to start with, it probably was money. Motivates you?
What motivates me?
At the moment, I think money, right?
Are you saving up for something? Do you really want something? Is there a thing you really want?
Yeah.
What?
A water park.
A water park? Oh, wow, nothing small then. A big water park. Okay, well, say the same thing. So it's the same thing. For me, for some reason, I really wanted my own house, so nobody could tell me to move, and I could, have that, and then it would be okay.
Like, I wanted a water park.
Like being your own king in your own castle, isn't it?
Oh, I want a water park in a mansion.
In a mansion. Oh, okay.
In a mansion.
So then, for a job, have you decided what's going to enable you to pay for your mansion and your water park?
Inventor? I don't know.
Well, that's true. No, there's some very good inventors who are dyslexic.
Yeah.
So it's about having that bright idea and then being able to do something with it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you've still got some time, thankfully.
Yeah. Wait, can I? Does your money drive you?
Not so much now, as I say. It did when I was younger, because I wanted to buy my own house.
Yeah.
But now, not so much. What's more important, I think, is being with people that you enjoy working with, or even if outside of work that you enjoy doing things with. That's more important, and that motivates me.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.